everyone. Chris Matthew with Forbidden Knowledge News. We're here at the Laughlin UFO Mega Conference. We're having an awesome time. And look, it is the one and only Danny Sheehan. Danny, how are you doing? Are you enjoying yourself?
Sure. Yeah, I always enjoy
That's
these
great.
events. Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed your presentation. Very amazing. I'd like to know, when did you become interested in the UFO phenomenon? Was it before 2017 when the Times article came out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Long before that. I've been interested in the issue of extraterrestrial life ever since I was really small. As soon as I realized what stars were, and that they were like suns from different solar systems, and I was astonished, that it wasn't perfectly obvious to everybody that there were planets around these other stars, and that there would be life elsewhere. And it always struck me as being bizarre that in light of this reality, that people on our planet were running around every day ignoring that reality and engaging in these really bizarre kind of activities like, drawing lines in the dirt and saying, if you step over here, I'm going to kill you. And, here, I'm going to eat all these apples. You can't have any, all these bizarre things that people were doing. And it struck me as really strange. But it was, I think, probably the Betty and Barney Hill incident that had occurred that I heard about, where there was actual discussion of beings coming here from these distant star systems and actually encountering human beings, and then that the UFO phenomenon became extremely important, and there was this whole spate of movies. I can't remember whether they were after or before, but the 1950s, 1952, 1953, 54, they had this entire spate of science fiction movies that you would see as kids, and they varied from having the bad guys be us, who were so paranoid about it and threatening them and being dangerous to them, whereas they were trying to stop, like The Day the Earth Stood Still with Michael Rainey and all that. And it came from outer space, and but then there was the whole War of the Worlds group, or Invasion from Mars. There was this whole kind of weird dynamic going on. Some people pretending they were bad, and some pretending they were good, and we were dumb and stupid, So I was kind of fascinated by that entire process, and so that these two issues of an interest in extraterrestrial life and then this other interest in the UFO phenomenon, which were obviously related, and it was in 2000. It was in 1977. However many years that is before 2017, when the New York Times article came out, that I was asked to participate as special counsel in this investigation that was asked for by President Carter to do an investigation of both the UFO phenomenon and the issue of extraterrestrial intelligence. And this was conducted by the Science and Technology Division of the United States Congressional Research Service. And I was contacted initially because they wanted to know, as legal counsel at the Jesuit National Headquarters in their Office of Social Ministry, whether I would contact the Vatican and see if we could get access to information that they had for the President Carter study. And that's how it started. And then it evolved into being special counsel for that study and getting to see the classified portions of Project Blue Book and other things that occurred. And because of that, I was later asked by Dr. John Mack, the head of the Department of Clinical Psychiatry at Harvard Medical School, to represent him legally when he was dragged up in front of a major faculty committee to kind of excoriate him for writing a book about his conducting of sessions with people who believed that they had contact with these extraterrestrial beings. And then I was asked to be legal counsel for the Disclosure Project by Dr. Stephen Greer in 2021 in May. And then I was asked to be legal counsel for the citizens' hearings on the UFO phenomenon by Stephen Bassett. And because of all that, I've been asked a number of times to come to different UFO conferences to tell people about what it was that was going on and what it is that I've been coming to find out, and what I if I come to any conclusions about some of these things, or what the processes might be by which we can actually get answers to some of these questions. And so that's what brings me here today, is Bob Brown called and said he wanted me to come and talk with him about this New Paradigm Institute that we were talking about forming, where we could actually conduct a lot of these major inquiries in a professional way, in an egalitarian way, with all the different people and organizations, and get the information brought together so we could study it. So that's why I'm here today.
Yeah, and I definitely want you to tell us a little bit about the New Paradigm Institute that you're wanting to form. But first, it seems like there are some in our military and in the media that are attempting to paint the UFO phenomenon as a threat. Now, for me, it seems like if they wanted to wipe us off, they could have done this eons ago. Yeah. Why do you think that this is being painted as a threat?
Well, I mean, one of the things I want to try to do as one of the co-founders of this major institute is to kind of forego coming to any specific conclusions about a lot of these key questions. The key is to look into it, to figure this out. What I'm trying to do is gather together the different theses that people have about why is it the different elements of our government would take the different kind of positions they've taken on this thing. Who's been involved in making those decisions, etc. There's there are at least a dozen major fact questions that need to get answered here. That fortunately, over all these years, some 40 years or all that I've been involved in this, that there are different people who pose different potential answers to these questions. What I need to do is to show respect for each of them, have them articulate exactly what their theory is about, for example, the answer to this question is, why is it that our, quote, United States government has been taking positions that they've been taking on this, and how has it changed over time, and are there different elements inside the bureaucracy or inside the political structures that have taken different positions? All these questions you have to sort of get them all out on the table to start examining them. And that's what I'm hoping we're going to be able to do. So what we want to be able to do is start at sort of zero ground level, and get all the different theories in front of us, figure out what the questions are, and that won't be exhaustive. We'll think of as many as we can, and other questions will arise, but get the questions asked, and then get all the different proffered answers to these questions that some people have come to rather facilely and potentially incorrectly, but others have been much more reflective about it and have a higher level of probability that they may be close to the truth on these things. So we have to do all that process. So that's what we're in the process of doing now, and we're talking about doing it virtually to start with, because it's so much quicker that we can have a virtual New Paradigm Institute with different shops, and so that process will begin very quickly virtually. To start gathering all this together. We've got this thing called the observation deck. It's a particular virtual location on the internet where they're doing some of the early kind of primitive technology involved in this, where you get up on the internet and you get assigned an avatar, which is this little person that you can have it be your gender and your height, and you just get clothes for them, and it's a little crude right now, but they're going to be working on that, and they're actually going to try to get it so that it looks just like you, like a little holographic presentation of you. Provide pictures and stuff. So there's this existent technology right now, and I don't know yet about who owns it, who have the patents and the copyrights. I don't know what all that is right now. We'll find all that out. But we want to utilize a similar technology to start providing, as they have there, for example, on the observation deck, they have this place where you arrive, you get assigned this little avatar, which you can customize to some extent, and then you have these places. There's a half a dozen places you can go. One of them is an auditorium where you can have your little person walk down virtually to this little auditorium, and you go in, and it's all on your computer, so you can see it all. And they come into this big auditorium, and it has all kinds of seats. It has a stage, and it has these 3 great big screens where they can have presentations, and you can actually somehow push a button, and you're on the screen live.
Oh, that's great.
So you can have your little avatar get up on the stage and walk up to this podium and start to do a presentation, and boink, up comes your real person on the screen, and you can have a live presentation that you can make, and different people could come and have their little avatar sit in the audience. And so that they'll just march in, and they'll sit down in a chair, and they'll look up, and then they can see on their computer just what their little avatar would be seeing, which is the big screen. So it's really cool. And then there's this other place where they have this little hall with exhibits, just like if you go to a UFO conference, they have these little stalls where people are, where they sell books and all that stuff, and they have those, and like you could have a person like Stephen Greer or Linda Moulton Howe or Jordan Peace, or with the Architects of a New Parent. You can have all these new people. Each of them has their own little shop there, and you can have your little avatar walk up to them and talk with them. And they have their own little avatar, and when they're on duty, they can talk to you and answer your question live. But what they've got, what they've got is an artificial intelligence thing now, where they can not only have your avatar look more and more and more like you, but also train the voice so that's your exact voice. You just give them 100 samples, sort of like with the dragon speak, you know. Yeah, so we're at an early stage of this thing now, but we're going to be doing a lot of this stuff virtually to start with, and have our own independent technology for doing all of that for the Institute. And then we have this other place, a physical plant that has been provided to us. It's a big 70,000 square foot Art Deco hotel built in 1929, up 100 miles north of San Francisco on Clear Lake in Lake County. It's an 18.5-mile long lake. This is absolutely beautiful setting overlooking the lake, with big dining facility for 125 people, with 180-degree panorama view of the lake, and it's got 80 suites in it, with big chandeliers, and it's got a big industrial strength kitchen. But we have to rebuild the whole thing. We have to rewire it because it's got 1929 wiring. So there's a lot of logistics that need to be done to get that up and running. But the virtual one can be done more rapidly, and so that we're in the process of doing this. And we'll see to the extent to which that physical plant would contribute to it, would add anything to it. It may be kind of old school people like me, like the boomers, that think it's really cool to all be together, where you can actually sit but at the facility, the virtual facility, they have private rooms where you can actually go in, and they have these little blue circles around them, so it's completely silent, so nobody can hear you, and they don't record it at all. We'll make sure that's true. But you can sit and have a private conference with our 2 little avatars, and you can talk, and you can gather, a dozen people around a table and have a private meeting. You can do all that really interesting stuff, and you can store all the information in this site. You can have hopefully we're going to get I don't know how much digitization they've done of like the Rogue Metaphysical Library that Jordan Peace has up in Ashland, Oregon. But he's got like almost every original book on UFOs, all these videos that he's been videoing virtually all these conferences. He's got the documents and all kinds of stuff there. And so those will all be there. We have, like, Barbara Lamb has her entire record of like 2,400 interviews of people who've had these experiences. That those will be reposited there. We have all these things that we're going to have in this thing, and then we're going to undertake these 10 tasks that I outlined in the talk this morning. But I
want to thank you so much for sitting down with me, and I look forward to this new paradigm research, because it brings together, not only the UFO aspect, but the consciousness, spirituality, and investigating government corruption. So it's that's right. All around a great project.
That's right.
So Dan, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your week.
I will.